Thanks for listening to the Adam Carolla Show on Podcast One.
Hey, which glasses look better on me?
Oh, what's this?
Zenny's 3D virtual try-on. Pretty cool, right?
I don't know about the purple cat eyes.
I think they're fun. What about these tortoiseshell glasses? Or these rimless sunglasses? Oh, what about these clear frames?
Wait, are those prices real? Do they have glasses for men?
Yep. They also have affordable blue light glasses.
Seriously? At those prices? Get them all.
I like where this is going.
Zenni.com. Quality prescription glasses starting at $6.95.
At Discount Tire, you can shop online and get the same trusted advice you get from the stores. Then just book a time that's convenient for you. When you get to the store, you can stay safe with a new touchless experience. Discount Tire. Let's get you taken care of.
Well, Academy Award-winning documentarian Brian Fogel's going to join us. He did Icarus, as you guys know. Won the Academy Award in 2018. Also news coming up as well for a very informative chat. First, I'll tell you about True Underdog, new podcast by four-time Entrepreneur of the Year Jason Waller. It's real, it's raw, it's motivational, inspiring stories and killer entrepreneurship. Jason is the definition of a true underdog. Raised in a trailer park, suffered childhood abuse, kicked out of high school, and became a dad in his teens. So he had all that working against him, but what did he do? Found the power from within. Used his street smarts to start 3 companies from the ground up. His latest venture, Power Home Solar, is on the path to becoming a $1 billion enterprise. So it could happen to you as well, but you got to work hard. Head to True Underdog Podcast to hear how Jason and high-profile guests turn their lives around. Subscribe to True Underdog Podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app. That is True Underdog Podcast, and it is found at Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Adam Carolla's I'm Your Emotional Support Animal, navigating our all-woke, no-joke culture, has over 1,000 5-star reviews on Amazon. Here's one.
Another hilarious critical insult for taking the star, the old culture for Adam 5-star.
Thanks, Ozzy. Pick up I'm Your Emotional Support Animal now. Available in all formats. For more, go to adamcarolla.com.
Brian Fogel is joining us. The Dissident is the name of the latest docs. Available now on Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, Video on Demand, and, of course, you know him best from Icarus, the Academy Award-winning doc. So congratulations on both docs, by the way. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Adam. Good to be talking to you.
The latest, and I'll get Jamal Khashoggi to fight. Did I say that right?
Khashoggi?
In the documentary, they pronounce it
Jamal
differently.
Jamal Khashoggi.
Khashoggi, right?
Yeah.
So it's a story that most people heard of in the news a couple of years back. He was a journalist, went to was he a Saudi embassy and was, never seen again and then dismembered. I think it's how most people kind of remember the story, but what attracted you to the story?
Yeah, I mean, Jamal at the time of his murder was a Washington Post journalist. He had self-exiled himself from Saudi a year earlier, walked into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October 2nd, 2018. His fiancee, Hatice Cengiz, was waiting outside for marriage papers, for wedding documents, and he never emerged. And as we came to learn over those next couple weeks, he was in fact murdered and dismembered inside of that consulate, essentially for dissenting against Mohammed bin Salman's policies, weighing in a different opinion, especially his writings in the Washington Post. And as you see in the film, his activity on Twitter. So essentially, this journalist who was moderate was murdered by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia for voicing an opinion that didn't align with the Crown Prince's.
Brian, I'm glad you said moderate because I watched the documentary. I loved it. It's very powerful. The thing that jumped out to me, and I wasn't familiar with the details of the backstory, was Jamal wasn't like personally insulting MBS, saying like he molests children or like attacking him personally or really crossing any line. He had a point of view, a political point of view, went against MBS, but it wasn't what you'd say was worth dying for or worth being killed over, I guess.
It wasn't incendiary.
Moderate.
Yeah.
Well, that is what really kind of initially drew me into the story. The idea that we're in a world where not only do we take our freedom of press and freedom of speech and freedom of opinion for granted, that literally simply voicing an opinion is enough to get you murdered. I mean, you look at what's going on in Russia right now with Navalny. You look at what just transpired in our own country over the last few years, and here in the case of Jamal, this guy was 60 years old. He had worked for the Saudi royal family for most of his life, essentially, trying to help them navigate in Washington and in the UK by writing pro-Saudi opinion pieces and policy pieces. As Mohammed bin Salman takes power, all of a sudden there's a complete crackdown on any free speech. Jamal's threatened. Many of his friends also were journalists are arrested. We get into this in the film, and he flees the country, takes a position at the Washington Post, and he was not writing cruelly of the Crown Prince. He was simply saying, hey, I think my country can be a better place with freedom of press, with freedom of opinion, that women should be able to have rights. Women should be able to leave their home without the permission of a man. And these were the kind of things that he was saying. And at the same time, he was disagreeing with Trump's relationship with Mohammed bin Salman. And for this, he was murdered.
Let's explore a relationship with the Saudis because, they were implicated quite heavily in 9/11, and there's been a lot of families, survivors of 9/11, have been trying to have lawsuits against the Saudi government and stuff like that, and our country is not helping that process at all. And is it all oil? Is it all money? Like, what do we need them for? I guess is the question.
It's gotten further complicated in recent years. I think if you look back to the House of Saud, which is the Saudi royal family, which is really Saudi Arabia is controlled by one family, and this family it's an authoritarian. Essentially dictatorship. There is this family controls the vast majority of wealth and resources in the country. And there was a time when Saudi Arabia was basically 50% of the world's oil supply was coming from Saudi. This is not the case anymore. And of course, as we change more and more over to renewable energies, and obviously Tesla's up, 10 or 20x this year, right? That there is less dependency. Of course, the United States is also producing a ton of oil, and other countries over the last couple decades have stepped forward with their own oil production. So we are nowhere as dependent as we think. I think the dependency relies more in the economic interests. You see, the United States is the world's biggest weapons manufacturer, and what most people don't realize is our single biggest export is weapons. That's what we make. That's what we sell. We think it's other things. It's weapons. And Saudi Arabia is the single biggest buyer of weapons from the United States. So this is where it lies. I think the oil obviously is a huge factor because it's basically the leading member of OPEC, they can control oil prices. And, as we saw with Trump during the administration, he was pressuring the Saudis to either raise oil prices or pressuring them to lower oil prices. And, what they did with Russia last year, where they, really, put a strangle on the market, because for the Saudis, they can basically produce oil for nothing. It doesn't cost them anything at this point, or costs them, less than any other country in the world. But I think that it's way beyond oil. I think it's really in the business interest, the investment interest. The world's largest hedge fund, SoftBank, is all Saudi money. The Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, which is the most liquid sovereign wealth fund in the world, which invests tens of billions of dollars in companies like Apple, is
I
Saudi
agree.
money.
Well, it can't be oil anymore. We're pretty much independent over the last couple of years. And I don't know about the Keystone pipeline situation, but we were pretty independent. And that may come back with enough pressure, but it's not oil. It's now just other money. I will say, sidebar, it sounds like a joke. I'm not kidding. Speaking of Tesla is now a real car driven by real people, because when Tesla first came out, it was just a handful of celebrities who wanted to, make a statement. When I was driving to work today, I pulled up next to a Tesla. Dude inside it was smoking. And I want to tell Elon Musk, that means you've arrived.
You have a crossover hit.
Right, because you would never find a smoker who bought a Tesla. This guy flew in the face of everything. Now, the day people smoke in Teslas is the day Teslas are accepted as regular cars. No more tree huggers hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio. This is just way to get to work. So God bless Tesla and Elon Musk, a guy smoking.
The fact that you bring that up, I never even thought about that. But yes, the idea that you would smoke in a Tesla other than smoking weed, or off your vape. That really is
game
really
changer.
The arrival of Tesla as mainstream.
I wonder if since they moved,
anybody can drive a Tesla.
That is right. Any Armenian in Glendale can drive a Tesla. I agree. Wait a minute. Brian had a question. Sorry, Gina. I jumped.
It's a follow-up to what Brian was talking about weapons sort of replacing, or the just the idea that the Saudis are valuable to us in what they spend. One of the many things, Brian, I liked about the documentary, and like I said, it was a very good start to finish. One of the many things I liked was, so I remember when this happened, there was a lot of people, what's the response going to be? What's Trump going to do about this? Is he going to do anything about this? And of course, he didn't do anything. But you didn't belabor the point. You didn't have to. You know what I mean? There was just enough of Trump. At one point, Adam, he's holding up like a chart showing how much the Saudis spend, basically saying, I'm not going to pursue the very clear subtext being, I'm not going to pursue any action because look how valuable they are to us. Look how much they spend. And it's a referendum on how the world works. You can say, well, that sucks, but it's a reality on reality's terms.
Well, this was something that, Trump, love or hate him, this guy did better than anyone else, which was, hey, it's all about business. There was no bullshit in terms of, I care about human rights. I give a shit that somebody just got murdered and hacked to pieces in a consulate. This is going to cost us billions of dollars. I'm going to take a pass on taking any action. And Brian, you're 100% right. In the film, I didn't want to go down the Trump Kushner rabbit hole. That wasn't where I was going. It was just simply, hey, this is what happened. Oh, and by the way, both the House of Representatives and the Senate, bipartisan, across the aisle, wanted to sanction the Saudis, wanted pass legislation to block weapon sales, pass legislations to try to punish, for the Khashoggi murder, and Trump vetoed all of it. And just today, there's a story in the New York Times about the return of all these companies to Davos in the desert, which is Mohammed bin Salman's big investment in